From the front page of the Yonkers Statesman, September 16, 1916. Headline: Report Defeat of the Romanians. The heavy offensive launched yesterday by the British north of the Somme was the most powerful in weeks and was successful in gaining ground along the entire front, except immediately opposite Ginchy, where the Germans clung on desperately. The Germans have already begun counterattacking the French at points where they recently advanced both north and south of the Somme. Paris reports the repulsing of the Germans east of Clery. Renewed activity is reported in Macedonia, where the British again threw the skirmishers across the villages occupied by Bulgarians. In Dobruja, Bulgarians, Turks, and Germans won a decisive success against the Romanians and Russians. Petrograd reports the situation in the Russian and Galician war theaters unchanged. Headline: Sympathetic Strike Coming. Several trade unions voted today for the purpose of determining their response to the call for a sympathetic strike to back up the striking streetcar employees. By Monday, the labor leaders expect to learn the sentiment of the longshoremen, teamsters, tidewater boatmen, coal bargemen, and stationary engineers and firemen, to whom the carmen have particularly addressed their appeal. By Monday, they assert 70,000 men will be called out to protect the very life of union labor in New York. The union leaders announced that the majority of the members of machinist unions, having a membership of 25,000, have voted to strike at munition plants in New York City as a protest to the financial interests controlling the subway, elevated, and streetcar lines. Should the longshoremen, boatmen, and coal barge workers go out, the strikers say virtually all work along the waterfront will be tied up. The police commissioner has been informed that 8,000 coal bargemen will quit work today. It is stated that the longshoremen have voted almost unanimously to go out. This movement is described by the Central Federated Union as a preliminary to a general strike. While it is estimated there are 800,000 trade unionists in New York, it is said the leaders do not count upon calling out more than 400,000 of them as an extreme measure. While labor leaders were perfecting plans for a sympathetic walkout of 75,000 workers to aid the striking street railwaymen, the officials of the Interborough discussed the possibility of instituting an action charging conspiracy against the union leaders. Businessmen and merchants are cooperating in the movement to restrain the labor leaders. Headline: No help from the Public Service Commission. Yonkers Mayor Lennon has received a telegram from the Public Service Commission stating, quote, "Answering your telegram just received. Under existing conditions, interposition by us could not possibly accelerate settlement of car strike in Yonkers, which strike, in its present phase at least, is manifestly a direct outcome of and is indissolubly connected to the situation in the greater city. Any present investigation by this commission could not fortify, but easily might hamper the commission in the First District and the mayor of New York City in the inquiry now underway." Unquote. Headline: Few Wilson wagers. The betting on the election is very light this year. The element of uncertainty so dear to the gambling instinct is too much lacking. If Wilson ever had any chance of being reelected, it seems to have disappeared. And that's the news from Yonkers 100 years ago today.